As I record this today, 4 million people are without power on the eastern coast of America, and it comes with a sobering realization for me that I take the availability of power all too often for granted. I think the longest I've ever been without power was about a day back in the 1980s when there was a hurricane in London. But back then I was a kid and didn't have the sort of reliance on electrical devices that I do today. It is fortuitous then that for the past week I've had a chance to use the RAVPower 20,100 milliamp hour portable charger unit with AC output, which RAVPower currently lists as $140 on their website, but you should always check Amazon for current prices. Before I begin, I want to thank RAVPower for sending us this to review, and another one which we'll be sending to the winner of our competition. So if you'd like to enter that and read the full review, click on the little card thing in the corner of the screen now. So first up, let's talk about design and things included in the package, because it's really quite neat. Rather than a standard little cardboard box segregating all your cables and everything, the whole package comes in a reusable solid shell case with Velcro straps to hold everything in place. It also comes with a separate fabric bag inside, and this is to hold the charger for the battery itself, the AC charger, as well as a short and a long micro USB cable. The battery itself weighs just over half a kilogram and looks more like a smart speaker than a battery pack. Overall, it's a lovely matte black rubberized design that doesn't really pick up fingerprints and just feels great. However, it is only a very thin rubber coating. It's not a sort of shockproof protection or anything, so don't be thinking it's rugged and you can drop it. There's a small band of LEDs at the front here, and those are used to show the current battery percentage. There's 5 LEDs, so each one's about 20%. Other than that, all of the sockets and buttons you need are on the top here. So you've got your power button to turn it on, you've got a USB-C charging port, a standard USB-A port, aka the big rectangle, and a tiny DC in socket for charging the battery itself. Then hidden underneath this flexible rubber cap is an AC power socket, in this case a UK one, but it also comes with a US or European design. So let's talk numbers. 20,100 milliamp hour is the total battery storage capacity inside here. As a rough guide, your mobile phone probably has 3,000 to 5,000 milliamp hour battery in there. So this should charge your phone from 4 to 6 times, depending on your exact capacity. It provides a single smart USB socket, that is an iSmart Plus, or a fast charging socket, so one that gives up to 2.4 amps at 5 volts. Now that's the maximum you're going to get from a standard USB port. Now the Type-C socket is not actually the large rectangle type which you might expect. It's the smaller, usually the end of the cable. So in order to use that, you're going to need a specific Type-C to Type-C cable. Now the devices I have which charge over a Type-C cable actually don't terminate in this style of socket, so I can't charge those. You might then need to get another cable specifically to use that. However, if you have the right cables, you can use both of these sockets at the same time, and the Type-C socket will provide 3 amps at 5 volts, with the standard USB socket providing 2.4 amps simultaneously. Also useful is the fact that it does have an AC power socket, so that provides 220 or 110 volts depending on the model you choose. And there's a small green LED next to the socket to indicate that it's on, although obviously this will be obscured if you have a plug on top. To activate this, you have to hold down the power button for 3 seconds, at which point the socket turns on. Now you are limited in terms of what you can plug into this. The Amazon page for the American model notes 65 watts as the maximum, though the UK document notes 50 watts as the maximum rated thing that you can plug into it. So this is only small devices really. A kettle, for instance, is going to draw 2 kilowatts, so that'll never work with this. However, for laptops and small appliances like, say, a room fan, you should have no problem. That said, I did experience a couple of quirks when using motor-based AC appliances in this. So I tested my room fan and a product turntable, and they both ran a little bit slower than when they were plugged into the wall. I confirmed this with the room fan by using this watt meter to measure actually how much power it was using. When it was plugged into the wall, it had a continuous draw of about 33 watts. However, plugged into this, it only took 28 watts, and this resulted in noticeably less output and a bit of a funny noise from the motor, although it was still functional, and charging a laptop, for instance, worked just fine. So I suspect this is specific to things which include a motor and is just a result of the way in which power is converted from the DC battery here into an AC current. In my testing, that fan, which was drawing 28 to 30 watts, lasted a full 2 hours. It will give you at least one full charge on your laptop. For AC power then, running 28 watts for 2 hours comes out as about 55 watt hours total storage. The capacity is stated as 74 watt hours, but of course when you're converting from one source to another, then you're going to lose some of that in conversion inefficiencies, and this is true of any battery technology really. One other quirk I found when using the AC power was that for running the fan for an hour, the battery indicator went down to 1 LED, which is supposed to mean 20% left, but then it continued to run for another hour with that 1 LED. So clearly it wasn't actually 20%. However, I didn't have that problem when I was dealing with USB devices. So again, probably another quirk of either using the AC or specifically using a motor. So my only real disappointment with this device is that it has to be charged using a specific power adapter with a very small DC input. And this converts from your wall power down to 19 volt, 1.6 amp. It takes about 5 hours, I found, to fully charge the device, and it does get quite warm in the process, so there's a bit of inefficiency and heat loss there. This is therefore tricky to recharge in an emergency situation. If the grid was down and you didn't otherwise have another form of converter, then you wouldn't be able to plug this back in again to recharge. Ideally, I would have liked for it to be able to charge from another 5 volt or 12 volt source. For instance, I have a 12 volt solar panel down in my greenhouse, which doesn't have an AC converter, but does provide a fairly reliable 12 or 5 volt source, which I could have used to charge this up and then bring this back and reuse it. As it is, in an emergency situation, if the grid was offline, this would pretty much be a one-shot device, because once all the power is gone, you probably wouldn't be able to recharge it. Still, if you do have intermittent power, or if you do have your own converter for your own solar panels which provide an AC output, you could easily recharge this again. It would just take a good bit of time. And obviously it is still quite a massive amount of power to recharge your phone 4 to 6 times. So if you used your device sparingly, you could feasibly get by a week or two at least with one of these. Obviously it's useful not just in an emergency situation, but also for traveling and for camping, that sort of thing. Overall then, it's a fantastically useful little device to keep around. The AC output works for smaller devices such as a laptop, but you're not going to power a kettle from it. And since it does require an AC output in order to charge it again, it's missing some of the features that would make it my ultimate recommendation for preparing for emergencies, but still very useful nonetheless. The truth is that battery technology hasn't really changed much in the last 5 years, so there isn't anything revolutionary that this could offer. It's certainly a unique form factor. I really like the shape and the fact that it looks like that and can be placed there with all the ports on top. Most of the big batteries I've seen tend to be big rectangular devices that are a bit unwieldy. And the fact that it comes in a nice solid shell case with a separate soft case for all of the cables, that's a really nice addition, I think. So nothing revolutionary, but does the job it says on the tin, comes in a nice package and at a good price. Anyway, to read my full review and to be in with a chance to win your own RAVPower 20,100 milliamp hour portable charger, head on over to MakeUseOf.com or click the link in the description. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more weekly reviews, gadget giveaways, technology tips and tutorials from all of us at MakeUseOf.com. Until next time, stay safe.